Millions of American jobs start right here.
America's farmers export over $100 billion of crops and products.
We have the #1 trade surplus of any American industry.
It's as true today
as it has been for generations.
America's farmers grow America.
Brought to you on behalf of America's farmers by Monsanto.
Congressman Rick Nolan from Minnesota's 8th District, thank you for joining us.
Delighted.
Well, just first off, can we get a little bit of an introduction of your district and the kinds of agriculture within it?
Well, I represent Minnesota's 8th Congressional District, which is northeastern Minnesota. And we like to say that the economics of our district are all about timber, tourism, and trade. So, and agriculture is a small but a very important part of it. Kind of the southwesterly sections of the district have a lot of agriculture, a fair number of dairy farms, crop farmers, a lot of specialty crop farmers, a lot of direct farmer to market, marketing plans and operations and facilities. So agriculture, is important. Aside from the fact that taconite, timber, and tourism dominate, agriculture is still very important to us.
And the purpose of this interview series is to meet the freshmen of Congress, and maybe a freshman in this millennium, but certainly not new to Congress in itself. What was it like taking that 30-year gap in between serving in Congress?
Well, it was very good for me. I mean, I spent 32 years building a business, raising a family, being back home, engaged in a wide variety of community service activities. And that combined with, 10 years of previous legislative experience in my youth, I feel better prepared today than I ever was at any point in my life. And the fact that my family is growing up, I have more time to devote to the business of governance. And, lastly but not least, this country's been very good to my generation. And that's what's getting away from us. And so the opportunity to step up and to serve and to hit the ground running and to be able to make a difference here and there is very important. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm doing everything I can to make a difference.
Well, this being your 4th term, what do you think is the biggest difference between your 3rd term that you finished and then this 4th term just getting going here?
There are a lot of changes, big and small, but there are 2 fundamental changes. In the past, for the last several hundred years, everything kind of came up through an open rule and through the subcommittee, full committee, and full House process. By open rule, meaning anyone can offer any amendment on any germane subject and have your day in court and have it heard and have it debated thoroughly. That doesn't happen anymore, and that's a tragic and serious mistake. We used to spend 90% of our time in the business of governing. And it was very, very time consuming, but very, very important. And then at the end of a term, you'd spend a couple of months raising some money and campaigning. But the overwhelming majority of our time was spent on governing. And you learn so much through the governing process, hearing everyone else's amendments, everyone else's ideas, meeting on a regular basis with them to discuss the important issues, in this case agriculture. Well, now there's just been a flip-flop of that. My previous last election, you add up all the money, amounted to several $100,000. My immediate last election was over $20 million. And the fact is that money has taken over, corrupted the public policy process, and taken all the important and valuable time away from the governing process and put it into campaigns and elections. That's the biggest change, and and that one's got to change. We have to change the way we do politics in this country, or we're going to continue to see the kind of gridlock and confrontation that we have witnessed in recent years. We got to get back to collaboration, cooperation, compromise. That's how you solve problems, that's how you fix things, that's how you get things done, and that's how you move things forward. And we got to get back to that.
Switching gears a little bit here, serving on the House Agriculture Committee, what are some of your priorities, and what really motivates you to serve on that committee?
Well, first of all, we live on a small farm up where the Little Pine River and the Big Pine River come together in north central Minnesota. Right now, about all we do is put up a little hay, and that's not accidental. There used to be a farm on every 40 acres, but nobody could figure out a way to make a living on it. So, but I have a great love of agriculture and food, and for the men and women who commit their lives to it. And my goal is always to try to do everything I can to strengthen opportunities for the smaller family farm operators who want to be able to make a living and in that way of life. It's really been just a great foundation for American food and financial success. And then in that regard, you know, there are always new initiatives that are taking place. For example, there are more and more farmers getting into organic farming. We want to do what we can to help facilitate that. There are more and more direct farmer-to-consumer marketing opportunities. We want to continue to encourage that. The food and nutrition program has been an important and vital part of America's food, nutrition, and economic success. We want to continue to carry that forward. And last but not least, I come out of the sawmill and the pallet factory business, and when I said, you know, the pillars of our economy are timber, taconite, and tourism, well, the forestry business is very important, and that's managed through the Agriculture Committee. So I'm on the Forestry Committee as well. So there are many things that we can do to help facilitate the timber industry in its growth. We have a paper mill now up in my district that's taking wood pulp and making a clothing material out of it. There are other opportunities to make pharmaceuticals, to make products like Kevlar that you can build a canoe or a bulletproof vest out of. So I'm doing a lot to try to encourage, you know, the forestry, the timber, the lumber industry as a green product, a renewable product that has much more potential than what we ever realized until recently. But we got to spend some more effort, some more money and basic research in developing those products as well. In the same way that we've spent a great deal of effort in doing basic research in agriculture. When I served before, you know, you ask what some of the differences are. I say, you know, some of them are big or some of them are small. Well, I mean, I can tell you, you know, back in the day when I served before, if somebody got 100 bushels of corn an acre, they were pretty darn happy with it, you know.
Right.
And nowadays they're regularly bringing in a couple hundred bushels an acre, you know. So none of that stuff happens accidentally. It's all the result of some basic research, you know. Defining and creating, you know, better and more productive and more pestilent resistant and more bad weather resistant agricultural products. So there's just so many exciting things that you can do on that Agriculture Committee. I just love it.
Right. And how do those Ag Committee priorities spill over into what you would like to see accomplished in the upcoming Farm Bill? Well,
as you know, the Farm Bill was defeated. And we've had a wonderful coalition over the years of big city, urban members of Congress, liberal and conservative, and agricultural, rural representatives, liberal and conservative. And what happened is that we passed a bill out of committee that in many respects none of us were happy with, you know, and that's the product of compromise. Right. But there was a very strong collaborative, cooperative effort where we all kind of bit the tongue and made some sacrifices in order to come up with a bill that we could all live with. But then it got to the floor of the House, and you know, the Tea Party and others started putting all kinds of poison pills on it, and they amended our dairy provisions out of the bill, and then they started trying to make a drug enforcement bill out of it by requiring recipients of nutritional assistance to do drug tests, and took away a number of important powers of the states to regulate these programs. And at the end of the day, they just made it very difficult for the traditional supporters, Republicans and Democrats, you know, from the big urban areas of this country to vote for the bill, so it was defeated. Now I'm hopeful it's going to come back. I'm not quite sure what the form will be, but I'm hopeful it's going to come back and we can ultimately pass a farm bill.
So if and when that bill does come back, what are some things that you'd like to see in it?
Well, I've heard some discussions on the floor. They're going to take the so-called poison pills that I just mentioned out of it. And I think if they just do that, there'll be enough votes on the Democratic side to pass a bill. But you never know. You know, many of the Democrats were upset because we had made too deep a cuts into the supplemental food and nutrition program. Many of the Republicans didn't vote for it because they thought the cuts weren't deep enough. So, you know, John Boehner, the Republicans are in charge here in the House, and we have to live by whatever they ultimately decide to do. So I'm sure Mr. Boehner is doing some head counts to see if he can get more votes by, you know, going along with the committee compromise bill that was initially brought to the floor, or if he can get more votes by, you know, cutting these important programs even deeper. So it remains to be seen what the Republican leadership will decide to do here.
And finally, Congressman, can we just get a little bit of a introduction to you individually? I mean, what are some of your hobbies and things that you enjoy when you're not on Capitol Hill?
Well, you know, I'm a real true, you know, fifth generation of Minnesota's 8th congressional district. I never miss a fishing opener. I pick a little wild rice in the fall, do a little maple surfing in the spring, and I'm never happier than when I'm on a tractor out mowing hay or planting trees. My wife and I have planted over 100,000 trees in our lifetime. Wow. And we've been blessed with 4 children, 13 grandchildren, and we enjoy them immensely as well. We've been blessed with a wonderful life, which is one of the reasons why I'm back in politics. I want to see the youth of America have the same kind of opportunities that we have had in our youth and throughout our life.
Congressman Rick Nolan, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you.